welcome back to the Triple Threat Podcast. My name is Wimmy Zell, and today we are doing something a little bit different. We've done film rooms in the past, but they've been more of a little, an edited kind of a scripted thing. But today we're going straight in. We're going to be looking at 3 of the top products in the draft before the draft on Thursday. And stay tuned because we are going to be doing a draft show. Might be a bit scuffed because I'll be in Chicago, but we're going to get it done. Draft show live. If you want to call in, we set up a Discord. I'll link that in the description if you want to join. Just join the voice call whenever. We'll pull you in, and you can talk about whatever your thoughts are on the pick. If it's your team, doesn't matter. We'd love to see you there. But let's get straight into this one. Cade Cunningham, the man that you're probably here to see. So let's get straight into this one. What are your thoughts on Cade Cunningham going into this film session?
So there's definitely a lot to like here from a scoring perspective. Just being able to knock down the 3-ball when you need to, being able to go inside, get a nice shot, and then also from a passing perspective. Because this is not the best team around him. There's going to be a significant jump in talent and just overall better players when he gets to the NBA. But he still makes good passes, still makes good reads. Is a really good communicator, especially on both ends of the floor. And when the ball is in his hand, when it revolves around him, Cade tends to produce. He just has some weaknesses off ball. He tries to get flashy at times. And I think that on defense, there can be a little bit of work. But I think this was a really good game. Oklahoma State upset Baylor in the Big 12 semifinal. So this is just a fun game to watch, and it definitely shows a lot of Cade's strengths and weaknesses.
All right, so let's get back into the first play real quick. So here we see Cade Cunningham. I mean, he's a great, 6'8", that frame is just incredible, but sometimes he tries to do too much. He gets himself stuck in this double team right here, and in this pick and roll situation, you're going to see this big guy's rolling with acres of space in front of him, and someone who has got such great IQ as Cade does, you'd like to see him hit this bounce pass right here into this middle because that would be an easy bucket. And instead, he rolls out, and Cade goes into the corner. And then he's a great passer, so he gets himself out of this one by just chucking it deep to a spot where only his guy can get it. But yet again, it's sloppy. But he drains this 3. So I thought I drained that 3. My apologies. No. But this play really shows he's a great talent, but he's trying to do too much due to the roster around him. And yes, I know it's self-induced because he chose to go to Oklahoma State where his brother's coaching. So, anything else on that play, Ishan?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Him trying to do too much. So he had a good amount of turnovers. And it's plays like that where he forces too much attention on himself. He gets double, even triple teamed, and then he's stuck. So instead of just waiting till the last minute to make that pass, make it right away, because that could have been an easy 2 points for Oklahoma State right there.
So let's get into the next one here at 6:05 into the game. We're talking about Cade on defense here because at times his help defense can be a little lackluster. So let's get into this one here. So he kind of. Here we see Cade. He's kind of like he gets back. He cuts off this pass, which I really like to see him do. He recognizes that there's somebody ahead of him that's in the paint, and he cuts off that passing lane. He sees that lane and he cuts it off. Yeah. So I think that's something that he can do really well. It's that basketball IQ of recognizing potential passing lanes with his offensive mind and cutting it off with his lateral movement. But yeah, pretty solid play on defense right there.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, this is a very intelligent, very high IQ player. So a lot of the times he has the right ideas in mind. It's just execution, putting in that effort, and I feel like we're going to see that in the next couple plays.
All right, so here's another play on offense. This is kind of just showing his playmaking, that playmaking side of him. So in transition, he's going to get the ball right here. He's just going to dish it out quickly to a wing that's spraying down the court and just a solid play right there. Nothing spectacular, but a very solid play.
Yeah. And I think a lot of college playmakers get their name off of transition playmaking, as in Jalen Suggs, for example. And I think Cade, just like a lot of these other guys, is a much better transition playmaker than half-court playmaker.
And that kind of comes with the territory of being a college player. So let's go back to the defense. I think this is a help defense situation. So what happens here is Cade recognizes stuff. So he recognizes there's a shooter open this corner right here where my cursor is. And he's the leader of the defense. He's really communicating, telling his team to rotate over. So he's telling his team to cut this off. But what happens is he's going to over-rotate himself, concerning himself with the rest of the team. And he's going to leave this paint wide open for Davion Mitchell to come in and hit this little layup. So, yes, he recognizes the play. He can break down the defense, but he over-rotates himself, over-focuses, takes his eye off the ball, which you never want to do. And look what happens. Davion Mitchell comes in behind. So you're seeing this a lot. He's a leader. He knows what's going to happen, but he's too obsessed with trying to help his teammates out. And hopefully at the next level with a step up in teammates, hopefully this issue should go away, having a little bit more trust in his defenders.
There are definitely some quality defenders on the Pistons if they do take him, even though they are starting to get interest in Jalen Green, but that's another topic for later. But you have guys like Sadiq Bey and Jeremy Grant who are really good team defenders. So I'm excited to see Cade learn from them and still be a leader on the floor as a rookie. Because leadership is a skill that you just don't see in too many college prospects. So being able to communicate on both ends is definitely one big facet of his game that I really like.
So here we get into a play. This is going to be a transition play again, so I believe. So Cade's going to bring up the ball as the point guard on the team. And this is more evidence of him in the half-court situation. So
Exactly, yeah.
he's going to take the pick again, but he's going to be trying to do too much here. So he's got players in both wings, in both corners. So after this play, he's going to try and dribble into these three guys. And what happens when you have three guys on you? It means two guys are open. He's got number 5 open in the corner here, and he's got number 0 open here. So when he comes here, he could have kicked a 5 earlier, and then especially here, he's got a great look at 0. I know at this point he's ahead of his defender, so it looks like a good opportunity. But with a defender as good as him, I mean, it would have been a more advised pass to number 0. Because Avery Anderson is, I think that's his name, a very good player.
He's a very good shooter as well, someone that can knock down that open shot. So I think right there, Cade tries to be the scorer first guy, but making the plays a little bit better.
So we move another play on offense here, just showing off his passing. And being able to flick this pass to the corner is really impressive. I know the accuracy is not perfect, but to be able to have the ball outstretched in one hand on your weaker hand and just being able to fling it like that.
Yeah, flinging it off the dribble like that. It was a little bit high, but definitely set up a nice 3-point look for his teammate. So
I mean, maybe if he didn't have to catch it, it would have been an open shot. But anyways, it was demonstrates
and that's
the vision.
Yeah, that's. Oh wait, go ahead.
It just demonstrates the vision he has.
Yeah, and that vision is going to translate really well at the next level. You're going to see guys like Sadiq Bey, even guys like Killian Hayes, if they can be on the floor together, or Jeremy Grant get open looks just from Cade's beautiful playmaking. So 18-10 here. Resume the video. So just a really nice inside pass right there.
He's going to throw it high so only his player can get it, which is the best
over
part
2
about this.
defenders. That's a high pass. And that can be a risky pass, a little bit hard to pull off at times, especially against a good defensive team like Baylor. But he has confidence in himself, good confidence in his teammates, and so that's just a great pass right there.
Yeah, and that's like an NFL quarterback right there, putting in a spot where only his player can get it. And something that takes a lot of maturity as a playmaker.
A very quick decision, too.
Here's another good pass from Cade as well. So here we're going to see him, and I think it's another cross court. It's going to be in a similar situation as before, getting himself in the corner with 2 guys on him. but instead of taking a swing pass, he's going to dump it off to 22 for the for what should have been an easy lay.
Yeah.
You got two guys on him. He's streaking to the basket. This is a really good opportunity. A great pass, especially not looking in that direction, baiting both of those defenders, just like last situation. He is looking towards the hoop, and he hits his pass.
Yeah, I was gonna say one big thing is his vision and his eyesight, where his head is turned at all times. There are times where he's locked onto one target, like for example when he takes too many dribbles to get to the basket, or when he gets trapped, or he looks around but is still smart with his vision. So he looks at the hoop, but he knows in his peripheral vision he has a cutter right there. So that's definitely impressive. I will say though that with every one of those nice passes, there is quite often a missed opportunity. So forcing himself into the trap to open up the floor for one other guy is something that he does a lot in this game in particular. So at the next level, when you have guys that are bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, that can read those situations very easily, it's not gonna translate too well. So I feel like there will be a slight learning curve over in the league once he gets to Detroit or wherever, Houston, where he'll try to take risks like that, but they're not going to pan out. So he'll start passing easier, passing earlier, getting into that good habit earlier on.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed is that he's got the vision, he's got the playmaking, but something that's lacking is that willingness to pass. More often than not, he only passes when he's in that double team situation, and you're not going to see him often pass up a one-on-one opportunity to a fellow player, even if they have a better situation than he does, purely because he's got so much faith in himself, and that could be a detriment to himself. So I want to see more of a willingness to pass rather than being a purely score-first guard. So let's move on to the next one. This is going to be a nice shot. I think it's going to be a baseline runner right here. He's going to get to the baseline. As you see, another double team. Baylor clearly knows the game plan for Oklahoma State, but NBA shot, gets his feet set, just nice shot with his momentum fading towards the baseline. Just a really nice jumper right there. Not much to say.
Nice jumper. Yeah, really nice jumper. And I think with the way his eyes looked and the way he elevated himself, he was thinking maybe if the shot didn't quite pan out, if they contested well, he could dump it into the paint to I think 22 down there. So that's definitely on the riskier side, but it still is really good to see the confidence of Cade Cunningham, because you can have all the talent in the world. Look at Cam Reddish, but if you don't have confidence, it's really tough to produce at the next level. So the fact that he's still confident enough to shoot like that is very impressive to me.
So let's move on to a good foul draw, some shot creation action from Cade. So he does a good job drawing the foul here. I think our time seems a little bit off here. So he does the inbound. He's going to fight for the ball, jockey for position, and get himself on the back of his defender. And look at this. Just putting himself in a spot where only he can get this ball. Posts him up. It just does a great job drawing that foul. I mean, you'd like to see him finish through contact there, given his 6'8" frame, but being able to take him over the back and draw the foul still a very smart play.
Yeah, something that's always important at the next level. Drawing fouls is one of the most important things that you can do as an NBA player, just historically and especially in the modern NBA. Look at Trae Young, look at James Harden. So being able to have those post moves in your bag, just in case you want to get some free throws, is definitely going to help him a lot at the next level.
Yeah, so even another thing, this is going to be after this possession on offense, I believe. It's going to be an offensive read from him, or might have been before. Timestamp might be slightly off. Anyways, I think this is we're talking about the overextension here.
Yeah.
He's got this big man in help, and he's got this guy rotating. And yes, so it is smart for him to come down, especially with 23 sealing his man like that. But he leaves a great shooter open, so you can't leave Butler open like that. So
no.
Let's move on. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Butler's one of the best catch and shooters in the whole draft class, so leaving him open like that is definitely something you don't want to do.
so let's
So
move on to
here
a
we got
great shot, and I'll let you talk about this
yeah,
one.
got a little bit of Luka Doncic action right here. Gets his man, ISOs him, gets a little step back, bang, tie up the game. So this is, if you want to see confidence, this is the kind of confidence that he displays, being able to ISO out a really good defender and then step back on him like that. And look at the separation that he creates there. That's like 6 feet, I want to say, maybe a little bit more.
That's more. If he's 6'8", he's full extension here. That's at least
Yeah,
7 feet, 8 feet. And for someone who's
yeah,
6'8" and doesn't need that much separation to get an open shot, this is wide open.
yeah.
And
And
look at the starting defense. Like, telling me he'd get 6 feet from that? I mean,
no, not at all. And hit a step back like that. That's very impressive.
very
And it was
impressive.
still over. It was still over a mediocre closeout. So it's not like he was wide open. He got separation for himself and capitalized off of it. So very nice.
So here's a turnover-worthy play. He's got the read, but doesn't have the ability to make this pass. Again, you'll see he gets himself in a really dangerous situation. Two guys on him and the baseline. This is basically a 3v1, and a guy on his back. He's got nowhere to go. So the defense knows pass. He sees number 12 here in the paint, calling for the ball. And you can tell that this pass is towards him. It's a little touch pass. You can see this is going to 12. 12 is wide open. If he can hit this pass, it's great. But he's got himself in a difficult situation. It's just inaccurate. It bounces off over here. It bounces to a guy on his teammates. So I think this is more of a lucky pass. But you can be the judge of that. So I'm pretty sure he's going, just based on the type of pass it was and who's open at the situation. I think he was aiming for 12.
Yeah, I think so too. That's just he's lucky he got that off, as you said, but you don't necessarily want that at the next level. So moving on to a nice jump shot right here over a defender, just having that confidence, having that mid-range shot ability will definitely be nice. Just because they're going to guard him well at the three-point line. They know he can shoot. He's big enough to get inside. So being able to just pull up like that off of one or two dribbles and rise up over defenders using his height, using his vertical, is something that's very impressive.
And what I love about this play is it really shows how he can make shot separation out of anything. He's got two guys on him here. Tight coverage from Davion Mitchell here. He's got three guys on him. He can stop on a dime and elevate. Because he's 6'8", the closeout isn't even at this height of his wrist. So
Yeah, he elevated way past him.
he can make separation with his height and with his dribbling ability. So really impressive here. And this keeps defenses honest so he can take driving opportunities and have step backs. So being able to hit him mid-range is something really crucial for today's NBA because while it might not be an efficient shot, it opens so much more up in your offensive game to be a much more efficient player.
Yeah, and you see guys like Chris Paul, Devin Booker capitalize off the mid-range, but that's also because they're so dangerous inside and outside. That's kind of their last resort option. So if there's a Rudy Gobert on the inside and there's a good perimeter defender that can guard the three, the mid-range is always a great last resort right there.
So here's situation 5 on the shot clock. It's ISO time for Cade. It's been his time to shine. Everyone's letting him play on, so he's going to be ISO'd on Davion Mitchell here. Davion does a great job getting in front of him, and Cade really doesn't have any other thought process going on besides I'm scoring, and he just gets the ball snatched from him by Davion, which is a really good defensive possession here, but it shows that ISO is not always his strongest suit, so maybe
Definitely.
it also shows the weakness of the offense as well.
Creates a transition opportunity for Baylor, and just something you don't want to see. I guess it does create an opportunity for Butler specifically.
Yeah.
But moving on, this is just a really, really good pass right here. Coming up, able to find a shooter.
I
this
think
is
I think
where he
there's a
has.
better angle of it afterwards too.
Yeah, there is. But this is where you see he's keeping his head up. He's keeping his head up, looking for the open man, and when he plays like that, he's so much more effective on offense rather than just, oh, it's me, I'm just trying to score, I'm just trying to score.
Yeah, so you
But
see in transition here, he's got two guys. This guy's running back. He's got his back turned, and he's got a
so
three-point shooter going down the wing.
he immediately notices that, so finds his man, and before the guy can recover, he already has a shot off.
Just great playmaking right there. So here's another example of that defensive mentality he has of knowing what to do but not doing it, or wanting his teammates to do it for him. So in this situation, he recognizes that number 23 has gotten behind him, and he is calling for his big man, his center, to rotate back. But in this situation with his center a good 15, 20 feet away at this
With his
situation,
back turned,
with his back turned, and on your side of the court, I know you'd be leaving Jared Butler open, which would be very ill-advised, but you've got three guys up top that can rotate.
that can
help
rotate,
out.
yeah.
And having an open lay is much worse than an open three, so he's trying to... He sees the play going on, but he doesn't do anything about it, and, the inevitable happens.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier, that either him trying to be flashy or sexy, and then him not wanting to execute on his great intellect, just something that he definitely needs to work on. Because, yes, you can have all that IQ, you can be the smartest basketball player, but if you're not letting your teammates know, if you're not actually executing on your ideas, then there's nothing really being produced. But moving on to a very, very, very nice play right here. This is, if you want to talk about getting separation, look at this. Quickly gets a little bit of separation here, but has a quick trigger on. And bam, hits that contested three. That was nice.
So this is just... He is a clutch player. He really becomes a different player when the game's on the line. And
Especially on the scoring end.
yeah, especially on his shooting ability, he was not hitting threes as much at the same clip he was at the end of the game. So you can see he's asking for the ball, just catch and shoot with contest. Just he wants the ball. He's open. You can see this closeout's getting tight. I mean, this is not a lot of separation, and then just. I mean, he's just automatic when the game's on the line. Like, I think he was one of 6 going into the stretch, and hit 3 of 3 with 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Just putting them back in the game. They were down. So
Yeah, Cunningham is a much better catch and shoot 3-pointer than he is an off the dribble 3-pointer. I think 40% compared to 35% on relatively similar volume. But I think one thing that really stood out to me is just throughout the game, he wasn't really moving without the ball in his hands. He would stay open, but he wouldn't really move around to get the best look for his teammate while playing off ball. Now he's starting to hustle a little bit more off ball. And so in a clutch situation, that really unlocks Cade Cunningham's full potential. Now he's putting in that full effort. Before, he was kind of coasting a little bit. So I want to see him put in that full effort all game long without it needing to go to a 1 or 2 point game.
And that's your main concern with him is that mentality of him wanting to be that guy and just putting that effort in, because there's a lot of lapses in help defense. Guys who just dribbled by him. There was incident during the game that we didn't pull up, but he just let somebody walk straight by him. So help defense is a little bit lacking, so you can really see the mentality sometimes with him. But we'd be remiss not to point out some of the bad threes as well in his game. I mean, one thing you want to look at when you're looking at an NBA shooter or trying to project an NBA shooter is shot accuracy. How often he's hitting a shot that's worthy of going in, or whether it's accurate in terms of being online. Because issues of power can easily be solved with mechanical fixes, but issues with accuracy are a little bit harder to pinpoint. With a pretty open look as this is, it's quite surprising to see how off Cade was with the shot. I mean, he's got quite a lot of separation when he goes into the shot. Nothing really affects his routine, his form, and he misses wide left right off that little back glass right there. So a little bit concerning to see here. But let's get into the last thing of the game, closing it out. So here we're just going to see another great pass, showing that playmaking ability when he wants to. This is the one we have a better version of, I'm pretty sure. You can see they're in a kind of a high 3-2 line, and there's an easy cutter. No one has their eye on this defender right here. Cade knows that. He sees, drives in, gets penetration, and just dumps it off for an easy lay.
Yeah, draws the double team right there, gets his man wide open for a great look. And that's the kind of hustle, that's the kind of playmaking ability that the 3.6 assists that he averaged don't really indicate. Because in a late game situation, when you're up one and being able to ice the game like that, as a college player against a far superior team, is just extremely impressive. So that's definitely the best pass we've seen this game, in my opinion. And it led to a free throw that, I don't know if Walker made that, but still led to a free throw as well. So
we can see he did.
We made it. So that made it a 2-possession game right there. So really, really good, really good pass there from Cade Cunningham to set up his teammates.
Alright, so that'll do it for Cade. Let's move into our next player. We're going to have Jalen Green. So this isn't my favorite game of Jalen Green, but it's still a great game. He put up 30 points in the playoff game against the Raptors 905. Obviously, it's kind of hard to find full games of G League, but this is what we're going to have in this game. Obviously, Jonathan Kuminga is out, so let's get straight into this one. So our first clip is going to come. It's going to be a negative. Jalen Green is a lot more raw and a lot less polished overall as a player, but definitely more polished as an interior scorer than Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, and definitely gives more effort at times and closes out, does the little things. So I have a lot of confidence in Green, even if that polish isn't really there.
Yeah,
but
that mentality is something that you're really gonna look for in terms of developing as a player. So right here in the pick and roll situation, he's gonna have 15 rolling into the paint. Some similar situation that we saw with Cade Cunningham. He could have bounced this pass in for an easy lay. No one even close. Only one there is number 4, and he's a predominant shooter. So, also sorry for the video quality. It's G League basketball. You're not gonna get a lot of quality videos. So this is what we gotta work with. So missed opportunity there. He is not as developed as a playmaker. Doesn't read the game as well as Cade Cunningham, but is definitely, I think, a more willing passer at times than Cade. Will definitely pass more in a one-on-one situation and doesn't look to be score first all the time. So
yeah, definitely something that's good. And I think that comes a lot with playing with professional players, being a little bit more unselfish and playing more as a team. And with Green, this was a guy coming out of high school that got Kobe Bryant comparisons as a scorer. This is a guy that would take over offenses with his great scoring, and the playmaking was never really there. So the fact that he's actually more willing to make these passes shows his development from the beginning of the season to now, because before then, if the plays didn't really revolve around Jalen Green as a scorer, he wasn't as effective. But now he's a lot more of a well-rounded offensive player, and that includes his off-ball movement and playmaking. So this definitely shows that playing with professionals in the G League and their development system is panning out, because Green looks like a far better prospect than he did coming in.
For sure, and it definitely shows when Deshaun Nix, the point guard, their playmaker, said he's definitely the more of a second option as a ball handler and plays just as well. And he does have a different style when Deshaun's out and he takes over the primary ball handling responsibilities, but he's been able to learn with a secondary ball handler. So one thing that's great about what Jalen Green is his motor, his effort, his heart, and that's why I have such faith in him as a prospect. So in this situation, you're just going to see this incredible closeout. So he is a good 20, 25 feet from the basket, or from the ball. At this point, look at that first step. Just look at the length that he takes on that step. And he gets out to close out on that shot. In less than... I'm going to go back 1 second and just show you how far he moved. If I can get it. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. The 2 seconds he's here.
He's right there.
Just incredible athleticism, quickness, and just gets a great job disrupting that shot. And clearly it worked.
Coming from a stationary position, too, he is definitely one of them, probably the most explosive athlete in the class. And that really shows when he's driving and when he's closing out on offensive players on the defensive end.
Here we're going to see another good play of hustle as well. Hustle is definitely something that we've seen a lot as a player. Getting back, bad pass from Brown, and a 3-on-1 situation. He is going to not only stop the first guy fronting him, but he gets the deflection on the layup attempt. So this is great positioning. So he's the second defender. He's the second person back. I mean, clearly he's got the advantage. He's on his hip. So at this point, this is not great positioning for him. But he gets in front of him with his speed, fronts him so he doesn't have a lane. This guy's in front of him, and he gets around him, gets up, contests cleanly, and stops the fast break opportunity. Just a brilliant play of hustle. Anything else you got on that one?
Yeah, I think he knows he's athletic. He knows he's a freak athlete. And he uses that explosiveness, that verticality right there to really contest shots on a fast break. And he's going to be the guy that will chase after players on a fast break. So definitely really impressive there. So, unfortunately, we got a negative right there. A bit of a lazier bad pass. But he does run back on the defensive end to try to make a stop there. So that is fairly impressive. He's very good at recovering. And you'll see that a lot. He puts his body on the line when he needs to. And he doesn't give up on a play, and that's something you really can't teach. Because Cade at times will give up on a play if it dies. But Jalen Green, whether it's he gets beat or he gets crossed or something like that, or just play dies, he gives up and he tries to keep himself and he tries to keep his team alive on both ends. So definitely an indication of that as he hustles back on defense.
Now here's another play of his just defensive ability. They called this a foul in the court, but I don't care what they called. This is a clean play and a beautiful play. So, I forget his Matt Morgan, he played lights out. He scores 25 points without missing a shot. So,
yeah, 5 for 5 3.
Very impressive. But getting back, using that length and athleticism to just keep up and just smack that cleanly out. So that length, the speed, all of it is just great play from Jalen Green. So even though they called it a foul, in reality that just shows how great of an athlete he is.
And one thing I've noticed is he stays on the player's hip when they're driving or accelerating or sprinting down on a fast break. He stays on their hip to slow them down, match their speed, and he has that explosiveness advantage. He can out-jump you. He can out-explode you, if that's a word. And that's what he does right there, and that's what he did on that fast break from earlier. So being able to stay on their hip like that, even with a skinny frame, is something that's very impressive and a really high IQ move by Jalen Green.
Now here's what Jalen Green does best. It's his finishing. So right here, he's absorbing the contact. As someone who's really light in frame, being able to absorb the contact from a big guy, 2 big guys, you'd think this play would be dead in the water, no chance. But he's able to contort his body and finish through that contact, putting it in the right spot. So even though he might be light, that doesn't hold him back in the paint whatsoever on these driving opportunities, because he's able to just take the contact and be able to contort his body to make this shot. So really, really clever finish from him. And that's something that you're seeing a lot in these more smaller NBA guards like Ja Morant, and it's really impressive to see it done. And it may be a question of longevity of how consistent that is on a career basis, but on a play-to-play basis, it is something impressive to watch. This downhill quickness, be able to beat his guy on that first step, I mean, that first step is something that is just
That is that's just something you can't teach. That's just something that's hard to beat, and NBA players will have trouble with that as well.
there is not a player in the league that is as quick as him. Maybe De'Aaron Fox or Russell Westbrook in his prime, but he is
Yeah.
quick. Now, people do like to talk about his shooting mechanics because he does project well to be a good NBA shooter, but here's a good look at a free throw attempt. And yeah, it's a different form than he does when shooting three-pointers, but it's a really good look in the way he shoots and the way he can fix some of these mechanics. So I believe that a lot of the mechanics issues come from his feet because I believe on 95% of his misses, they're either front or back of the rim. So that really indicates to me that he's shooting on line, but there's an issue with power, and I believe that comes from his legs. And as you can see here on this free throw attempt, one, his feet are not angled at the same degree. His left leg is kind of facing straight towards the basket with his right being at like a 10-degree angle.
Yeah.
I want to see him either completely square or my preference be more of a have both feet at a 20-degree angle so you can get your arm
Yeah.
in line with your eye so you can follow through and get an easy shot. So first issue
Exactly.
there is the footwork, and two, you're going to see his knees come bend in a little bit, which is something that's kind of weird to see. Watch his knees when he takes this shot. They kind of buckle inwards. Yeah, you see that little inward motion? And two final things with this shot was something that's really weird. Is you're going to look at his guide hand. This is where a lot of the issue stems. Because he's got such a long wingspan, instead of tucking his elbow in for his guide hand, he has his elbow out
Yes.
like this. And I feel like this is one of the issues as well with this shot, that he can be easily
It's not
fixed.
Lonzo bad or anything, but it's definitely a little bit of an issue. And also, he keeps his knees kind of buckled in. If you go a couple seconds back, going back to what you were talking about with his feet, that's something else that I found kind of interesting right there. They kind of protrude inwards like that.
So his hand is on the top of the ball as well, which is something that's really strange. I mean, he gets the hand out of the way so it doesn't affect the shot at all, but I feel like that's something that just brings some more awkwardness into his shot, and it makes his elbow come out slightly. As you can see, that elbow isn't fully in line. It kind of bows out a little bit. So you'd like to see him get a little bit more flush with that
Yeah.
shot. But easily fixable. I think he projects to be a good NBA shooter. He shot 83% from the line this season, so not a problem. But I think he could be shooting up to 88% if he really fixes his mechanics. And I think he really will because, as I said, he's got the mentality to really be a great player.
So moving on to a very, very nice filthy play right here. So beats his opponent off the dribble. And look at that finishing package. We haven't seen many high-flying dunks, but the layup package is definitely there. He's very creative around the rim, and he uses that explosiveness to beat his man, but he's not afraid to slay the demon or slay the giant that is the post player that's waiting for him in the paint. So definitely a really, really, really good finish here.
And that first step is just lethal.
Yeah.
So just breaking that down, just look at that. So he gets that misdirection immediately. So he's going to get the ball, brings it up to the top. He positions himself in a way. He sees that foot go slightly overextends himself, and he bites completely. And there's just no way you're going to be able to keep up with Jalen Green once he's made a move. So he gets in front of this man. He's got two guys in the closeout. He's going to fake up. He's going to keep himself in the air with that incredible leap he has. Take the contact, absorb it, see where he's going to be ending up, and then take the shot and makes a great finish. So that's what makes him such an elite finisher, being able to adjust and make the shot after the contact. So there's no surprises because once he's taken that contact, he's like set, and then he takes a shot. So that's something that's really impressive about him. Just stays in the air forever. Brilliant athleticism and leaping ability. So let's go back. Another great on-ball defense situation. Had great on-ball defense all game, but with his quickness, he just is able to stay in front of his man no matter what they do. I know this is not the most elite player. You would have liked to see this be number 10, who had a great game, but stays in front of his man, switches well. In his own defense, he's incredibly effective. Just be able to front the man, rangy, good on new assignments at all times. Just really impressive stuff, and I think he'll be a really good NBA defender.
Yeah, so I think he's not really known for his defense, definitely more as an offensive, almost savant level type player. But I think his athleticism, his length, his ranginess, and his effort will definitely make him a plus defender in the league.
All right, to our next play, just looking more at Green's offensive game. So something that you want to see more. So he's going to get the ball at the top of the key. Again, look at that first step, no hesitation. Get his man off, and then just
Look at how low he gets to. He just beats a man with his shoulder right here, with this quick step and a shoulder to fend off the guy, and easily gets to the paint.
it all starts at the top of the key here. So he sees that his guy is coming up, and he's stopping quickly because he knows that he has the ability to come forward and blow by it. But it doesn't matter. And look at that separation. After 1 second, he hasn't even changed direction yet, and he's already passed him. He's got a big guy in front of him. He's going to go up. Look at that. Tell me he makes that shot. I mean, that is something that's ridiculous. The ball's down here. He's a whole 2 feet lower than him. But what happens, he takes the contact, he keeps going, he keeps rising, and then he reacts to it. And that's what's so great. I've said this too many times. Takes the contact, then learns, and then adapts to the situation. So that can help as a playmaker, and that can help as a scorer.
Yeah, definitely really, really impressive right there. So moving on, showing more of his playmaking abilities right here, coming up on this play. So there are times where he takes it up as a point guard, and look at that, finding an easy cutter for a bucket. So definitely doesn't make the advanced reads, but reads like this, he'll always hit those, and just another aspect of his offensive repertoire that we didn't really see coming into the season. So he's definitely made a lot of strides in finding open guys and even being pass first at times.
And that's a lot of great anticipation there as well. One guy on him, sees this guy's man is turned, these two guys aren't in great position to help out, anticipates and makes a great pass in stride. Really impressive there, especially with his eyes facing the different direction. So you can see he's not even looking at 15, knows where he's going to be. He's looking over here at Todd, and then just a great read right there. Really impressive with him.
So here, once again, showing off his explosiveness. Look at the way he closes out. Fights off the screen, closes out, and I can't tell, did he make that or did he airball it? So he airballed it, really altered the shot right there, uses his verticality, uses his explosiveness, and bam. That's the kind of defensive hustle you want to see. And a lot of times, Cade didn't really fight off of screens. Jalen went under and was still able to recover. So, really, really impressive right there.
Uses his arms, gets low, gets a tight corner around him, explodes out, gets his hand in the face, and affects what should have been an open look. Really impressive there.
So, the last play
of the quarter.
The last play of the quarter, definitely something that he's not going to be making this on a consistent basis, but gets up here and deep three, moving three, hits the buzzer beater. So that's always fun to see. Has that confidence, has that swagger to him. So really nice buzzer beater right there, even though they were down in the playoffs.
And with this, the reason why he's been such a good off the dribble shooter sometimes is because I think off the dribble really relies on upper body mechanics, and I feel like he's really got a very solid upper body mechanic here. You look at him, gets his feet ready.
Because when his feet are angled like that, once they're turned, it's a lot easier for him, and that's what you're gonna get when you're shooting off the dribble. You're not gonna be scored away to the basket.
Yeah, and then even so, you'll see Steph Curry have his feet kind of facing the basket on those off the dribble jumpers because that momentum is going to turn his body naturally. So yeah. I feel like that really just exemplifies the fact that he needs to have his feet turned more and just shows that he's got good upper body mechanics already to be able to train his shot at that difficulty, at that range, at that speed as well, because the speed that he's going with towards the sideline is just, I mean, very
Blazing.
impressive.
Look at that. So, showing off his finishing once again. I can't get enough of this. Rewind a little bit. So, he's right there, getting low, using his shoulder, and a nice right hand finish there. So, I think I would have liked to see him use his left here.
Exactly.
But this was still a great finish. But if there's a bigger and a stronger defender here, I don't know if I feel like they could block that quite easily. So he definitely needs to use his offhand when he can, because his right hand was very contested. The left was wide open. So definitely would like to see that a little bit more. That will further improve his already great finishing ability.
Just couldn't have said that better myself. Exactly what I was thinking. Maybe that's why we work together.
Great minds think alike.
That's what they say. Here we are, end of the game, down 22, but Jalen Green's not giving up. It's the playoffs. He's having fun. This is his last game of the season. So let's just watch this opportunity here. Catch and shoot off the dribble. Bang. And that's what we're saying. Off the dribble, he's a lot better of a shooter than he is just catch and shoot, just because of that footing. So I have faith that he can become a good NBA shooter because of
he'll
that.
be really good off of screens too, just like that. So
And no one can match his quickness, so if he just dribbles to the right a little bit, he'll create separation that way for himself anyways.
Yeah. Gets that sidestep going. And so that's the last of what we're going to talk about for Jalen Green. Before we go, I want to talk about one guy that's been flying under the radar, Ishan. He was the starting point guard there. Another top 25, I want to say, recruit. He actually came from Alaska, which was quite interesting. But he made his way into the G League and really solidified himself as a good playmaker, really good passer, and a great rebounder. One of those bigger point guards that is a little bit more old school, but he can rebound, he can pass, and he can orchestrate an offense with a lot of talented players. Because you had guys like Kuminga, who will most likely go top 10, and then Green, who's definitely going to go 1, 2, or 3. So, and a plethora of NBA players. So the fact that Knicks was able to orchestrate that offense really shows his maturity and playmaking ability at such a young age.
Now, this was the early game of the season. Let's talk about James Bouknight. So we kind of went for a theme with these players. As we said, score first guards, and all these guys scored great. So Cade scored 24 in his game, Jalen Green scored 30, and Bouknight scored 40. So really impressive game here against a very good Creighton Blue Jays team. Let's get right into this one. I think he shot at a very high clip. I think it was like 9 of 13 from 3. You'll have to fact check me on that one, but a very
he shot very well. So not always the most efficient 3-point shooter, but right here, good mechanics, good setback, putting some points on the board for his team early on. And just look at that. Look at the separation that he creates. That is just really good. He's also, like Green, he's very explosive. He's very quick. Not quite as explosive, but definitely good enough against NBA-level players. And he has a couple of moves that, between the legs and crossover. What I like is he sells his moves with the shoulders, and it really frizzled the defender right there.
And yeah, I picked this game to really show his shooting ability. I know his shooting numbers were quite low at UConn. I think it was the low 30%. But he does have the ability to be a good shooter. And a night like this night definitely exemplifies that. Does have that accuracy issue that Cade has, that Jalen doesn't. But definitely has the ability to be a good shooter with a good confidence night. So started off.
Yeah, and he shot lights out at his pro day or the combine, one of the two. So definitely, not pro day, draft workout. So definitely an interesting thing to see. Said that he fixed up his mechanics. Right here, gets a loose ball, hustles, and what a great finish, taking some contact at the rim, and then, bam, drawing the foul and a really nice reverse. Look at how high up he gets, too. showing his explosiveness, his vertical. Another really, really explosive athlete that I don't think in this in this game had some crazy dunks, but just throughout his career at UConn, threw it down a lot.
But for every good three, there is some pretty ugly. So we'll show you some of the accuracy issues we're talking about on the 3-point ball. So here off the dribble, has solid footwork here, but his knees are a little bit too lean to the right to adjust for that momentum that's carrying him towards the left. He gets up straight. Elbow is a little off, but solid mechanics here, but the accuracy is just not there. Tried to adjust for the momentum a little bit too much. So something he's definitely got to work on is that off the dribble move.
So we talked about his offense. Let's get into some of his defense. It's a little bit raw, but there's a lot of untapped potential, and that can be showed right here. So the way he stays with his man, it's a little bit hard to see. Number 2, by the way. And look at that. He just stays with him, takes the contact, and lets the opponent fall for a bad shot. So definitely
And
something
draws
really
a foul.
good.
Very nice.
Yeah, oh yeah, he draws the foul, keeps his feet set nicely, good footwork there as well.
So that was impressive defense on ball, especially for a guy who's not the tallest for a 2 guard, but definitely got solid size, solid frame. Would expect him to be a average to above average NBA defender.
Yeah, definitely a guy that is stronger than he looks at times, so that will definitely help him out, and has all the athletic tools to be an above average or at least a plus defender. So here shows off his little mid-range game, similar to what Cade did, but again, over 2 guys.
Well, look at the way, Cade.
Yeah, look at the way he rises above both players and just gets that shot. Wow, that is a beautiful look.
Very NBA level.
Yeah, that's an NBA type shot. That's something that late game, if you can pull off, definitely separates a good from a great player. So here, this is just man of sauce, a little fake there. Shows off his dribble moves. And bam, gets a nice shot right there. So once again, selling with his fakes, selling with his dribble moves.
Just look at that.
The way,
he is facing the wrong direction.
Yeah. Look at the way he faces the wrong direction. His head is faked. His shoulders, his knees, his feet, everything is selling. And then with the crossover and the behind the back, between the legs, I think.
Just look at the way he can sell that. Just look at he can stop on a dime. Look at the way he's just stopped on that foot. It is something that is just elite. That's something that this defender could not do at all. I don't want to just wind that back a little bit because that is just looking at this ability to stop on a dime and cross a defender. So just look at the way he can just stop like that. That is something that will separate him from any other player. That's really impressive. Then goes downhill. Obviously not as explosive as Green, but definitely a solid finish and a great NBA shot right there. Really impressive right there.
Yeah, and look at how much separation he created with that behind the back. If he was a little bit more comfortable, he could have even gone for a 3-point shot right there, but not gonna criticize. That was still just excellent. Look at that. That is beautiful.
So let's move on to another great finish he had in the paint. Something that he can do quite well, especially as a 2. It's impressive to see he can do this. So this guy's playing up on him. He's just gonna blow by him. So walking that back, he's got his feet. He's trying to play him left, which is a smart thing to do as a defender. But once he opens up that right, it's all go for him. Draws the foul and one. Impressive. Anything else you got to say on that one?
Yeah, no, that was just a really good finish. Draws the contact. It shows that he's not really afraid, that he is okay with drawing contact. And once again, it shows that he actually has a good bit of strength, which I like to see. So right here, what a really good cut and even a better finish.
So he can see his man on him, overextends, not letting that back. He's just letting that backdoor go by. So he's gonna sell up fake, gets his guy to go. The up fake is really what's holding. Let's look at that up fake again.
Yeah.
Just off ball movement is really when he wants to move off ball, he can, but it's not something you see all the time. He gets that separation, but He sees these two guys close out on him, and just like Green, goes up, fakes them both out, doesn't get the contact like Green does and bounce off, but is able to finish from any angle. Is a very athletic player. Just impressive to see right there.
Yeah. So moving on to some of his playmaking, just some of the reads that he's made. Let's go to 412. Look at this. That is a tough situation, a tough pass to make, but he sees the cutter. He keeps his eyes wide open, keeps them peeled, sees the whole floor. He has his head up, and right there, number 11 is looking at him instead of looking towards the cutter, and that is an easy basket right there.
Let's move a little bit on into the game, right early in the second half. Bouknight does a plethora of things well in this game, obviously. A great scorer, but let's look at this shot right here. I'm pretty sure this is an opportunity. So what happens here is he's going to overextend himself. I don't know if he gets tripped here. I'll slow it down a little bit. So he gets the ball. I can't tell what happens here, but I think
I can't tell with the ref. Yeah,
I think he trips on a player at that point, loses his balance, but still has enough awareness to get back, get the ball, and then drains this shot. That's what I was thinking of earlier with Cade Cunningham, but it was that moment. Just impressive right there. And if you want to look at the mechanics on this shot, this is a pretty good look.
Very, very good mechanics right there.
Gets the ball close to the head, right above the eye. Knees solid, gets up. Would have liked to have seen it. Very solid, very solid.
Easily more, but still very solid.
I'd be nitpicking on anything else.
Yeah.
He's got solid mechanics, so I don't worry about that 3-point shooting percentage. I think I might have to do this with his usage on this team and how heavily he carries the scoring load. He scored half of UConn's points this game, over half of UConn's points this game. So definitely was the reason they were in this game at all. Took them out of a deficit and.
I'll rewind a little bit. To 40.
It's. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So here, just showing off his 3-point repertoire. Right off of the screen, one dribble, bam.
And yeah,
so
he's a lot better when he's controlling the shot. So.
Yeah, he has full control of the shot. He has full control of what his teammate's going to do. And on a team like Orlando with a lot of bigs that can set good screens, he can get shots like that off fairly often.
Now let's talk about sometimes where his footwork fails him a little bit. So, in this situation on defense, he comes up a little bit too square and too early. So, in that situation, he doesn't have a lot of mobility laterally when he squares himself like that.
Can't recover properly.
Yeah, so he can't recover once he gets beat off the penetration. But he does a good job recovering, but he sells out a little bit too much with that fake and just takes himself out of the play completely. So sometimes he can be a bit overzealous in defense. Just working that footwork a little bit, but he does have great footwork on offense. So if he puts the work in, I feel like he can easily fix that on defense.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to his decision making. So I don't know what his intentions were, but
I know what this play is.
This was the wide open shot. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So this player right here takes around 1-3 attempted game, and I don't know if this is in Bouknight's repertoire, but or in his thought process watching film before the game, but doesn't even attempt to close out. And as you can see, 0 didn't even consider a shot, and that played out perfectly for him. Was able to play defense, and I don't know if that was a smart play, but I'd like to give Bouknight credit for not closing out because clearly that player did not have any intention of shooting that shot.
Yeah. Definitely something I like there. Maybe something in the scouting report that he saw. But if that is the case, then that means that he's studying film, he's watching players. So that says something about his work ethic, and that says something about his intelligence as a whole. But if not...
That also shows that he's adapting in game, recognizing players play in game,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
or
Yeah.
he just was lazy. One of the three.
Yeah. We'd like to say that it's one of the first two. Right here, just using those dribble
Oh,
moves
I
once
remember
again,
that
getting
play.
inside, drawing the foul, taking the contact,
The
and
hard contact.
he wanted to gam that too, but it's fine. He gets a free throw with it.
Just a very impressive play. Being his man off the dribble with the quickness, recognizing a mismatch, getting in the middle with that. Just the way he was able to turn on a dime and go up the court. Just impressive right there. And then he took a hard fall and was able to
Yeah,
get back up and keep going.
yeah. So moving on, if you want to see that explosiveness and verticality on the other end, let's take a look at a very, very nice block right here.
Just great man defense, staying in front of his guy, and not
Good
getting him,
footwork too.
not giving him any. Like blocked him twice, I think. Blocked
He
him
didn't
there,
give him any
and then blocked
room.
him again.
Yeah,
Just no room, and this was really getting his arm out in front from the beginning really limits where he can, because he can't go up on that. When you have your
no, he
hands
can't.
up, you're giving him freedom to go to just shoot over your head. But when you have your arm out like this, you are not letting him get the option to move that ball, because if he does, that will happen. So great smarts on defense and a great play on defense. Really impressive. So
Yeah,
just
for sure.
good on-ball defense and then great mechanics. I mean, it could get him a foul in the NBA, but just considering the way they call fouls, but very, very good.
Here, this is off a pick and roll. Could have made some kind of pass here. There are a couple open players on the side, but he decided to go for the shot. He was feeling good. It was a close game, and there was not a lot of time left. But I think in this situation, it might have been better to go for a pass.
Especially, he kind of hesitated here, number 5 stealing his man. If he just shot this right off the rip, but instead he hesitates to let 34 get back in his face. Don't know if he gets any contact on that at all, but is online. Definitely an issue with his footwork, or definitely an issue with his power. I think that comes from that hesitation, but 5 was stealing out his man, so it could have been a better decision right there. Last 2 of the film session. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
we're almost done. Second to last, Bouknight's shooting ability, I believe this is. Oh no, this is that little drive he gives. Trying to do too much. A minute left, up 2.
Yeah.
Uh,
Once
a
again,
lot of time on the shot clock. Just trying to
could
do
have
too much.
Yeah, or could have even made a quick pass out to the I think number 1 on the corner, other corner. But yeah, right there.
And he's a pretty solid shooter as well. And made a
But
couple
he's
threes this game.
here. But instead gets the air ball, gives Creighton the ball back. Definitely a costly play right there, as the game ends up going into overtime. And he does hit 2 threes, like this one right here, but at that point it didn't really matter. They lost the game. It was just more of a garbage time 3, but it does show his shooting ability.
And that movement off ball was pretty solid as well. Did have to get a little bit
Very good
there, but
offense.
set himself up and got the shot. And to close out the game, got one final 3. Just as the guys come to Cade to get himself that 40 piece. So
Yeah.
just waiting in the corner, waiting for him to be called. I mean, at this point in the game, nothing really matters, but getting the.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed. Let's give us our final thoughts of the players. Let's start with Cade Cunningham. Pros and cons of that film session, and anything else you want to mention of the player before we get into our mock drafts and our NBA draft day coverage.
Yeah, so the pros were definitely his intelligence, his communication, and his just feel for the game. He definitely knows what to do, when to do it. And when he wants to, especially in the late game situations, he takes over games with his great scoring, great passing, and he can make great reads for his teammates. And when his shot is hitting, he's getting buckets. But on the flip side, there are times where he has the ideas, he doesn't necessarily execute, he doesn't have that willingness to pass until it's almost too late, and there were some lapses on defense that he could definitely work on. So as great of a prospect as Cade is, because there are definitely more pros than cons, he is far from a perfect prospect, and we'll definitely see some of those weaknesses get exposed up in Detroit.
And the complete opposite of a strength and weaknesses comparison, Jalen Green, all mentality, got the effort, got the heart, got the grit, great interior scorer. Needs to work on his mid-range game a little bit more. Would like to expand that horizon so he can open himself up to be able to be a more shifty player and just keep his defenders more honest. Because if you can make your defender guess on 2 or 3 different options, you're going to open up that quick little one-step move because no one can keep up with that one-step burst. Quick athleticism, great scoring ability, great contact, great contortion. Really, really great player. Has some upper body mechanic to be a good shooter, but has to put it together, has to add some playmaking to his game. Not as naturally gifted as a basketball player or basketball IQ as Cunningham is, but that he's got the quick to be a great player, and his willingness to be a great defender will pay a dividend for him. I could see him being I don't want to say it, but I feel like he could be a Drew Holiday kind of defender with that quickness because there's no way you're getting by him because he is quick, he's got the frame, he's got the lengthiness. No one talks about his defensive game at all, but he is definitely one of the best defensive prospects in this draft class.
Staying on a player's hips like that is something that's extremely impressive and something that allows him to use his athleticism to get the best of any player, regardless of if they're faster or stronger. So, last guy to talk about, Bouknight, really, really good scorer. I was very impressed with just his scoring prowess, everything, but he definitely needs to work a little bit on the playmaking department. There were some decision-making errors, but really, really nice game from him. And I'd like to see some of that shooting translate to other games because there are times where he wasn't as consistent.
That was definitely his best game by far. Shot around 60% or more in that game. But in other situations, he looked more like an average shooter or below average shooter. But working on his mechanics, I feel like he can really take that opportunity and be a great player. He can be a microwave scorer, can score at all 3 levels, and his defensive mindset is really going to help him a lot. Just a really solid player all around. So
definitely
stay tuned. We'd love to do more of these. If you like this, please let us know in the comments below because we will do more of these because
sure.
We love talking film. I love watching film. The past couple of days, it's just been me in my room watching game on game of film and breaking it down. These ones are a lot more fun than doing it by myself. So, thanks for sticking with us today. That'll be all. Ishan, let the people know what we're doing on Instagram, on Twitter, all of that good stuff, and talk about the NBA draft show. So, I'll close this one out for us, Ishan.
Yeah, so of course we've been posting on Instagram a lot of updates such as the recent New Orleans Pelicans trade and NFL updates like the A-Rod situation. But we're going to be posting a lot more on there. We're going to be posting a lot more on the website. I have an article coming up about USA basketball's lack of success and a couple of some draft day articles that we'll go over as well. But during the NBA draft, which is Thursday the 29th, we will be hosting some kind of show. I don't know if it's going to be on Discord. I think it's on Discord.
Yeah, that'll be the easiest.
Or you might be able to call into some kind of phone number and give us your thoughts. We're going to be streaming it live. You'll hear our thoughts. You'll hear our reactions. And draft night is where emotions really come out. As in the Kyle Pitts selection, my initial Trae Young reaction.
Any New Orleans selection.
Yep, or when I hugged my mom when we selected Onyeka Okongwu.
This one would have been the best by far on camera. NBA lottery night.
For you? Oh, the Zion lottery? Oh my god.
I was on camera. I'm glad I wasn't on camera for that one because that would have been a chaos, let's just say.
Yeah, we that YouTube probably would have taken that down. Let's be honest.
So I'll go a little bit of logistics right now on how that's going to work. We have a Discord server set up. So what's going to happen, you're going to join a voice chat. We'll drag you into the show, and you'll be live and say whatever you want. Just don't get us terms of service. That's pretty much it. You got free reign. Say whatever you want. But, yeah. So that's it. Join the Discord. I'll link that in the description right after this episode ends. And make sure to join because we want to hear your thoughts on the draft because it's not about our opinions. We only support two teams. I'm a Pels fan. He's a Hawks fan. We've got a lot more picks to talk about. And we've got no
Yeah,
picks.
we
We've
need
got no picks in the lottery at all.
Oh yeah, now you don't. That's tough. You can get like Chris Duarte though. He's pretty tough.
Man, if we could get Corey Kispert, that'd be really tough.
Yeah, but oh my God, Kispert on the Grizzlies would be so nice.
Oh, please don't. If they take Kispert, I might cry.
Oh, that's gonna be hilarious.
It'll happen. It'll happen. I know.
It'll probably happen. Unless like they really don't like Kispert's age, and no one likes Kispert's age, and he magically falls to 17.
Oh
Then
no,
you
he's
get
22, but can shoot lights out. Oh, that's so scary. Wow, maybe he won't improve his shot anymore. Maybe 46% is not high enough.
And don't forget the defense. He's great off ball movement. Yeah, any player that can move well off ball will translate very well into the NBA.
Man,
But
I think we're revealing too much about our draft board before our article. Or at least my article comes out.
yeah, so we'll have that coming up soon. So episode number 50. It's a big milestone here. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'm Ishan Cheth. Alongside me, as always, William Ezel. And that's the episode. Peace.